being broken down. And I know here at conference I've heard many members share their own personal experiences of dealing with mental health challenges. We all know in our own families people who have struggled or are struggling with different types of mental illness. And being able to talk about it is an important first step. But then we do need to make sure that the services match that ambition. And our goal should be nothing short of full parity, that you get just the same level of service with the speed and quality if you break your leg or if you have a breakdown. It should be the same. And I also think that we need to be engaging in positive mental health in the public health way, so that it is not only about dealing with people when they have already reached a point that they are feeling they need to seek medical assistance. We have messages about how people can eat healthily and improve their lifestyles by exercising, by avoiding smoking and alcohol and other drugs that might have an impact on their physical health. And I think we need to be promoting positive mental health in the same way too. And that's partly about our wider policies around quality of housing, around the natural environment and green space and access to the arts and sports and leisure facilities, because all of these things can support people and help to build resilience so that people are less likely to face mental health problems, or if they do, they have more different avenues available to support them in their recovery.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anybody who would like to ask a question on any topic relating to mental health and the policies that we should adopt and so on? There's a lady standing up, I think, just over there by the stairs. Would you wave your arm? Yes, right there. Thank you. What's your name and question, please?
Hi, Joe. I'm EJ Fawcett. I'm from Oxford West and Abingdon. I'm 17. I am a bit offended by the comment you made earlier where you compared student debaters to Parliament. I think we're much more mature. So mental health means a lot to me. About a year ago, I got diagnosed as autistic, and I had to wait over 1.5 years for my diagnosis. But that's not what I want to ask you about. So at the moment, there are young people across the country, across the world, who are currently burning themselves out trying to fight the climate crisis because adults are unwilling to step up and admit that there's a problem, and they're letting young people fight the battle for them. Now, I hadn't planned on getting this emotional, but I am one of those young people. So, my question is, on Friday, are you going to be attending or supporting the global strike for climate? Will you stand with young people who are going through this crisis right now? And will the Lib Dems take a stand, listen to young people, and do what we want them to do?
Thank you. I'm going to invite Joe to answer that right away.
Thank you. That was such a powerful question. And it is shaming for that generation of adults that it's children and young people who are this strong, amazing voice that we are seeing. The energy in the environmental movement right now that's come from people like Greta Thunberg and all of those who she is inspiring through the school strike for climate, who are out there with Extinction Rebellion, who are making this case. And I am so excited to see that energy, but equally I recognise the point that you make, that this should not be on the shoulders of young people to do on their own. We should be standing side by side together to make this case. And yes, Yes, I will be on Friday supporting the global strike for climate in Glasgow, where there are events. I'm going to be in support, and I know that so many Liberal Democrat representatives are. Vera, our climate change spokesperson, Leila, who's been a massive supporter of the school strike for climate. It is so important that we harness that energy and use it to create real political change, and the Liberal Democrats will absolutely be at the heart of that. So thank you for being with us and for what you are doing.
Thank you. We, of course, have a debate here on climate policy tomorrow, and I'm hoping Conference is going to have a really good debate. I'm sure it will. Are there any other questions on mental health? There was a gentleman just over there in the red T-shirt. If you wouldn't mind standing up, sir, and then I'm going to invite the lady who had a hand up just there. If you wouldn't mind standing up, madam, as well, there'll be a microphone coming to you. Firstly, a gentleman in the red T-shirt.
Hi, Joe. I work for a mental health charity. I work with people of all ages, most of them adults, who have mental health problems, and they are trapped by anxiety and by the way that they think and feel. And there is a solution to this, and it's an expensive one. It's talking therapy or psychotherapy. I'm actually a benefits advisor, so many of my clients can't afford to pay for that. What can the Lib Dems do to extend this to people, not for a few weeks or a few months, but for however long they need it?
Thank you very much. Talking therapy. Yes, madam. What's your question, please? Let's have that microphone on, can we? Thank you.
Is it on now?
It's on now.
So obviously good mental health starts at home, and one of the most important things is that everybody in this room who supports the Liberal Democrats goes under an enormous amount of stress and pressure when it comes down to election time, and so everyone here needs to be supported as much as we need to be able to cope with supporting our communities and the areas in which we go and campaign. So if we really are these champions for mental health, how come we at this moment in time don't have mental health training, first aid, and so that we can go and deliver that and we can help the people better and we are better equipped to deal with it ourselves?
Thank you. And what's your name, madam, if you wouldn't mind?
Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah.
Oh, I mean, two absolutely brilliant questions. To take the one, first of all, about talking therapies. You say it's expensive. I get that there's upfront costs, but there's also excellent research. Richard Layard wrote a wonderful book which set out the case, an economic case, for creating increased access to psychological therapies, IAPT, and that actually if you do that, what you reap in the benefits from that in terms of people being able to get on with their lives, the reduction in other health problems, the improvement in their ability to contribute within their working environment and indeed in their relationships at home as well. So, I think we should be prepared to invest in this issue, but we should also recognise that this is a win-win because it's helping people to make the contribution that they want to make within their own personal lives, within their families, their communities, and wider organisations. So I think it's an essential way forward. And the key point that you make is that the rationing of that at the moment, because there is such demand and you've got some logistical issues about, literally how do you train up enough new people to be able to deliver this and do that quickly enough. But that rationing can mean that people go on a course and it is not long enough and they do not then get the results that they need. And I think this is one of the ways, and indeed we have policy about increasing the number of people working within mental health, providing additional roles so that people can get that support that they need. And then I think Hannah's point was a really sound one. Both, how can we better understand how to help people who are struggling with their own mental health, because those of us who are in elected office or standing for elected office will often find that there are individuals who need that support. And also, how do we do it ourselves? And I've been to so many Lib Dem training events, and we like to be sort of superhuman almost in what we expect of our candidates, of our agents, of our organisers, of our teams. One of the phrases that sticks in my head is, if you want to win, you have to be unreasonable about what you expect. Now, I can feel torn, because in one sense, I know that's partly how I got elected. You know, I set myself a goal and I went for it, and, you know, in some ways it was asking the unreasonable in terms of the number of leaflets that we would deliver, the number of letters that we would stuff, the number of doors that we would knock on. And I think there's a great thing about ambition and motivating people. But too often we let too much fall on the shoulders of too few people, when we could work smarter, or where we could spend more time growing the team and the pool of people. And at this moment in our party, where we have had so many new members join us, I think we need to be a lot better, a lot more proactive about encouraging new people who have joined our party to be actively involved, and making that easy and making it sustainable. Making it that you can be involved and you can do things in the Liberal Democrats, but it does not need to be your entire life. Because there's some of us who are happy for it to be our entire lives, pretty much, but not everybody's like that. So making it possible for people to contribute in the way and in the volume and in the amount that works for them, and being happy with that, rather than making them feel bad for not doing more, I think that is a really important point for us all to hold on to. And elections are stressful. So looking out for each other and recognising that at times when there's a sharp word or whatever, that we can de-escalate that afterwards. We can recognise there's a sign that somebody is perhaps themselves not getting enough sleep, not getting enough support, and we can look after each other a bit better. Because if we want to achieve the things that we do for our country, and that is why we are driven to do this, we need to work together, we need to stay together as a team, and we need to look after each other together.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take one more question on this, and there's a lady, a very short question, there's a lady in a green top who's been very patient, had her hand up for ages. So, Madam, if you wouldn't mind giving us your name and asking a short question of Jo, I'd be very grateful.
Thank you very much. My name is Lara Pringle. Unfortunately, our family needed to take our local authority to a special educational needs tribunal. It's about time that local authorities spending our taxes are held to account by an ethical code of conduct, where they are not allowed to use public taxpayer money to abuse the tribunal system to prevent families with children with special educational needs and severe issues from getting the help that they deserve.
Thank you very much. SEN and funding generally.
Absolutely, and I mean, Lara, it sounds horrendous what you've had to go through, and I'm often struck by challenges that people in my own constituency come to my surgery, and as if it isn't difficult enough, as if it's not enough challenges for parents who are dealing with children who have significant health needs or significant emotional needs, on top of the general challenges of being a parent, to then have to fight the system too, just grinds people down. And we need to make it easier for people, and we need to make it more individualised. Because every child, every person is different, and will need a different set of support. And too often, it's not put in place, and it's too much of a fight. And I think it's wonderful when parents fight for that. But the thing that's perhaps even most worrying is we know that not all parents have the capacity, the time, the emotional energy, the health themselves to be able to take that fight on. And so the outcome means that we are failing children who should be getting better support. You're right to raise it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We've got time for one more substantive question, and it's from Diana Gray, and it's this: how are we going to challenge and win in the north of England?
Well, the first thing I would say is we are challenging and winning in the north of England, and if we look if we look at council gains in Liverpool, in Manchester, in Hull and other places, and if we look at the types of fabulous candidates who I hope and expect we will welcome to Parliament, people like the first questioner, Lisa Smart, people like Tom Morrison, who was on the stage earlier today, or Cameron Hussein in Leeds, or Laura Gordon in Sheffield. You know, we have a strong team across the north of England. We have strong constituencies who are working hard and fighting. So we will be winning in the north of England. And what are the elements that we need to be talking about? I mean, there's significant need for investment in infrastructure, you know, high-speed 2, and things like the Transpennine railway improvements. I mean, it's 20 years since I lived in Yorkshire, and I remember getting on what was then Northern Spirit, though there was nothing heavenly about it, trains to and from work. And, you know, in the recent leadership election, returning to these train services, they don't really seem to have taken any kind of step forward in the last 20 years. So there's clearly need for greater investment. I also think there's a mindset shift. I really notice, with apologies to all of you lovely people who are from London and the South East, that there can be an attitude that thinks that that's where the world starts and ends. And there is a whole world outside of London that can be dismissed, and whether that's by the media or by government. When I was a minister at the Department for Business, I was struck by the fact that I was the only person whose constituency was basically more than an hour by car from London, and they seemed to find it a bit difficult to know how to get me my ministerial box at the weekend. I said, well, what do you do for everyone else? Well, we just stick it in a car and it goes to them. And you know, I think there is this mindset which needs to change as well. And then, you know, we need to take our Liberal Democrat message. You know, people in the north of England are concerned about Brexit, they're concerned about jobs, they're concerned about the climate emergency. So we need to have the specific policies about investment. We need to recognise the full diversity of our United Kingdom. And just as we champion devolution within Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland, we need to make sure that there is genuine power within those cities in the north of England as well.
Thank you. I'm going to take a few very quick questions arising out of the question, how are we going to challenge and win in the north? Does anyone want to ask Joe anything about that? It's a gentleman in a white shirt who's right at the very back. If you wouldn't mind standing up, sir. Yes, you. You're going to be our first questioner, please. I see there are a couple of stewards running over microphones. Who else would like to ask a question? Anybody else on this? Yes, there's a lady waving just there in, I think, my eyesight's not particularly good. If you wouldn't mind standing up, madam. Just there. Yes, you. Yes, thank you. You're our next questioner. Let's have our first question, if that's all right. What's your name, sir?
My name is Mike Eccles. I come from Brecon and Radnor. I'm a new member of the Liberal Party.
Oh, now there's a slip if ever I heard one.
I've just joined. I haven't been in politics for 50 years. And I would just like to ask whether you would consider moving Parliament to Manchester, actually creating a Parliament building which was less confrontational, maybe on the idea of a circular Parliament, something that would change the entire dynamic of the interaction between politicians. Would that be something that the Liberal Democrats would support?
All right, thank you. And another one, the lady up there with the microphone, yes?
Yeah, my name's Harry. I'm from Monmouthshire. My question is actually more based on our new MPs that have joined. It's obviously really exciting to see the number rising again in Parliament, but I'm wondering how carefully you're vetting them and whether or not actually you're vetting them to the same extent you would anybody else who was looking to stand. I've been a Lib Dems supporter for 27 years, ever since I was 18 and could vote, and my liberal values are incredibly important to me. And I'm concerned that some of the people that have joined recently don't share those values, and their voting records show their true colours.
All right, thank you very much. And I'm going to take one more question. That's not really about the north of England, but that's fine. Is there anybody who wants to ask a question about the north of England? Yes, gentleman there, if you wouldn't mind standing up, sir. Yes.